Welcome to the Doctors of Change, the podcast for practitioners, doctors, and healers who refuse to quit. This is where we honor the men and women who have walked through burnout, trauma, breakdowns, and breakthroughs, came out stronger on the other side. These are for the doctors who realized the greatest medicine they could ever practice was healing themselves first. Their stories, their lessons, scars, and victories will change you, inspire you, and wake up the leader within you. This is a new era of medicine, and the revolution starts here. Welcome to the Doctors of Change.
Welcome back, everybody. Have you been on the hamster wheel of goal setting, of putting visions out there that don't fully come to life? It is so difficult and quite the journey to truly have it all. To have the business of your dream that's having impacts, to have great health, to have great wealth, to have present and connected time with family and loved ones, and do the hobbies and things that interest you the most. Well, at Doctors of Change, we know that this is a process, and that's what I'm going to talk about today is goal setting from a different frame, is reframing how we are outcome focused to being in process and taking the action steps to become and be exactly who we're meant to be, to have exactly what we dream and desire. So as we enter into the new year, the past year is about shedding the old ways, of letting go of the old stories, the people, the energies that no longer serve you, and to step into your greatest purpose and potential. And we're going to review some of my old frameworks with a new lens. This has been 6 years since I've updated some of my curriculums and teachings as I've been on my healing journey. And still in process today, but doing it with much more peace, light, love, I believe understanding of how the world operates in ways that I didn't stand before, but most importantly, the integration of head and heart. I was very cerebral, very strategic, and always goal setting, and most every one of those goals came to life. I truly, from the outside world, had it all. Massive business, traveling around the world, nice house, cars, vehicles, all of it. But my health was dying, my marriage was dying, I was not present, and that's where I had to relearn everything. And it has been a process of integrating head and heart. And the first thing that I want to start with is, as we set our goals, as we are in the process of remembering and becoming, there is something that has to happen, in my opinion. Is change is a prerequisite. Change on how we do things, how we show up, how we think. And part of that thinking process is, I believe most of us are born into this world, and we are one, we are whole, we are the ocean. We are part of all things. And then we separate from the womb. And then we go into these environments and we get implanted with a virus, or that may not be ours. It's our parents' habits, beliefs, emotions, traumas, experiences. It is societies, it is medias, it is the Disney movies, it is everything that we are programmed. And we begin to believe these things. And we get further and further separated from our true knowing and understanding and our oneness component. So what the goal of, as we go into this new year, is to upgrade our operating systems. When you were born in the generation of my grandparents in the Great Depression, they had a survival mechanism. Those before that had a survival mechanism. Then there's me, born in the 60s and 70s. Well, I wasn't born in the 60s and 70s. My parents were. Well, before that, in the 50s, but they grew up in the 60s and 70s era as they went into adulthood. They had a different software that was installed. Then there is the Gen X. I'm 1980s born in the millennials, a different software. And then all the way up to today's. And people are different. Culture is changing, but we are all harvested with the software and operating system that many similar commonalities and traits are born. So instead of the new consciousness of looking at things from a perspective of high achievement, high goal setting, outcome focused, outcome, That's how most of us high achievers were installed that software, is how do we come back to center to where we can have great businesses growing to great health. And it is learning how to do things in a more aligned way, the center. That is what we're looking to come back to experience all these things. There's no shaming. It provides greater understanding. So instead of a data-driven mind, to a root cause of what are the behaviors, what are the parental, societal programming experiences that may be why we're operating the certain way. What were those influences? Let's look at those root causes. Many of my doctors are functional and regenerative doctors. We always talk about root cause. So let's look at root cause of why we're operating the way that we're operating from a past experience lens. Let's look at the mindset that we've been given, that high achievement, high performance, being seen, being heard, being understand, and then find that middle point to where we can come from a place of ultimately one is the goal of this conversation today. And I'm going to share my screen in the diagram is how do we, instead of being programmed or based on the software and our parents and our environment, and instead of being high achiever and drama, which is all, I'm not calling good or bad, how do we find choice? And the 5 pillars of cash practice success has been the framework that I've coached doctors from for years. And the important part that I want to talk about today is the 6 C's of your choice life. The big word here is choice, not from a choice from programming or the choice of it's all about achievement, but about the choices, the conscious choice of today, of what feels good, of what is in alignment with what you want. So we're going to go through an exercise the next 15 to 20 minutes here to plan out 2026 or to plan any quarter or any time, because 90 days is a nice place to get some momentum moving, to solve problems, to create, to build what you want, to learn a new habit, to get highly skilled at something, to make an impact and measure. How did we do? To course correct after that 90 days. So it's a great time frame. So whether you're hearing this into the new year or at any point in quarter, it will remain relevant and evergreen. So the first question that we need to get to be consciously in choice is clarity of how do you want to feel? And we have to evaluate and create awareness on how do we most often feel now. Some of you have heard of the vibration frequencies of our main emotions, of certain emotions carrying a certain frequency of love, enlightenment, peace, contempt, anger, frustration. All of these carry a different frequency. How do you currently feel? I can tell you when I was growing and at the peak of Rejuve Medical and MedFit in our consulting agency, Health Evaders, I felt frustrated that I was trying to grow to certain places, but I was frustrated with my wife. I was frustrated with my partners. I was frustrated with doctors that wouldn't listen to the plan or the advice that I was giving. That was my overriding emotion. Once in a while, it was anger when I felt so passionately about something. But underneath that was sadness. And in my remembering and healing journey, I had to unearth all of that. I had to feel the rage from the past, the abandonment, the hurt, the betrayals that were holding me back. And I know what I want to feel almost every day is peace. I want to feel passion. I love to feel love and excitement and enlightenment and bliss. So that's what I want to feel a little bit of every day, in gratitude and acceptance. And I am still going to feel, just like on Monday, I felt a little bit of frustration. I quickly regulated myself and came back to center by feeling that emotion. I used to numb emotions, whether it was with cannabis or with work or any other of the addictions that I had. So now I no longer need any of that to feel what I need to feel. As men, we are taught to not feel, to suppress those emotions, to just show up. Now, there is something to be said to not make decisions from a place of emotions, unless that feels good to you, to really sit with something and make conscious decisions once the emotions have faded, and how to sit with emotions, how to move emotions, how to transition, and how to not sit in those negative emotions, how to feel it, let it go, and come back to center. So that is a clarity. How do you want to feel? Let's not ignore the feelings. I now believe it's important to, in order to heal, you got to feel. Many of you are on your awakening journey or becoming more conscious, or again, becoming aware that you are thinking or feeling something a little too often that doesn't support your highest potential and highest good. So the second question of clarity of what do you want? I know, and I'm doing, is traveling the world with my family, using my best God-given gifts, which are speaking, coaching, strategizing, and enrolling into things that I believe will help people. So there's a place of absolute truth and certainty. Whatever I sell, I've done it, believe in it, and know it has the potential to do great good for those that I sell to them. It's highly integrous and in integrity because I believe in it. I can't sell something and I don't believe in it. I'm now being involved with a peptide company. I'm not selling that to consumers. I hear it's all with the rage, and I'm learning about it, and I'm using them for the first time, but I am not yet selling that. But people are asking me, and I refer to them to companies that I know are doing it, but I'm not personally taking any income or check or anything from it yet because it's not from a place of integrity and embodiment. So I want to serve God at the highest level and use my best God-given gifts. And maybe I'll gain some more gifts. In the past, that was managing teams and leaderships. I want to manage my team now. I've been a fractional CEO, COO, Chief Revenue Officer, CFO the past 6 years for different companies. And there came a place in truth where I don't want to travel and be away from my family anymore. So I no longer want to run other people's businesses. I'll coach, strategize, add my best gifts, but I graduated that chapter, even though it was fulfilling, it was meaningful, it was impactful, it fed my family. I've evolved from my chapter of building something huge and big that wasn't mine to rescuing, building, and strategizing to create success in those models to doing my own thing from my own home and choosing when to travel and using my best gift to help those other people. Not that I can't do it. And again, if a good friend or somebody I was supporting said, JR, can you please do this for a period of time? I would make a conscious choice. I never want to close the door to say I wouldn't do that. So clarity. And what I want you to know is I believe there's a few big truths in what do you want and how do you want to feel. The brain, like we told, gives you a virus and it's designed to keep you safe. I believe when you come to truth and you're in integrity, like we're talking about, of what you want, you then have to have courage instead of fear. Dishonesty will keep you sick and hurting and hurt your heart. Fear will keep you stuck or reliving patterns and cycles versus courageousness, taking steps in process. They're big. And then openness. If you've tried strategies and you're ended up back in the same place, you may need guidance or a guide or coaching or mentorship or different solutions or strategies. So I believe in those three, when you have clarity, are going to be utter important for you to have it all and have what you want. Is truth, courage, and openness. When you get clear and you embody those three values, I believe anything is possible for you. So let's go to the second C. Hopefully I'm sharing this, right? Maybe I wasn't all along the way. So now I'm going to share it a little bit more. Is back again, 5 pillars of cash practice success. This is out of the personal pillar, the 6 choices to live the life of your dreams. We just talked about clarity, absolute clarity on how you want to feel, what you want. Second C is care. This is what I ignored, is how do you care for yourself and your family? That is level 1. In level 2, most people want to serve their family. I've worked with a lot of burnt out practice owners that are females, they're mothers, they're entrepreneurs, they're You've heard the analogies. They're burnt and their body battery's dead at the end of the day, and they don't have enough oxygen to take care of themselves. I've learned that myself by being a giver, an empath. I've drained my body battery. It almost cost me my life. So now I must care for myself. Caring and loving thoughts. Self-love is a big part of the first phase of healing and remembering who you are. Just love in general of yourself. So love, care, kind words, loving thoughts. That is the step. Taking care of yourself, the right foods, the right breath work, helping your electrical system, some call it a nervous system, is beginning to care for yourself in the highest level possible. Movement, nutrition, exercise, thoughts, sleep, rest. This in the 5 pillars of cash practice is called the lifestyle pillar. You can offer it in your practice, but if you don't embody it, it's a little out of alignment. And again, we all can come back to center, repent, rebalance at any point in time. And how do you care for the needs of your family, your partners, your employees? In those orders, we are caring for others. So this is, again, your quarterly plan or your 2026 plan. You want to write your notes in this form and write them down in journal as we step into there. So that's where we get to really begin to move. And the more we care for ourselves and we get into these next C's, we can make decisive decisions that align with everything that we're writing down here. This is what I would truly call alignment-based goal setting. How do you care for yourself so you can be healthy, for your family so you can be aligned with your other purpose in life, your family, your loved ones, your immediate family, to your parents, your siblings, your cousins? Is I love caring for my family and my teams and those clients that I serve. Not from an empty cup, from an overfilling cup. And many high achievers, you know that, the burnout, the overgiving, got to rebalance. And that's why care probably should be number one. But when you're clear how you want to feel and what you want, care becomes secondary, but it's right up there. Number 3, contribution. Now from a full cup, how do we begin our contribution? This could be a nonprofit. This could be whatever allows you to go serve. This may actually be your business. So how do we, again, contribute? Well, we want to set revenue-based goals that are breaking the ceiling. So how do we get rid of the invisible barriers? I highly believe in NLP goal setting. I'm trained in it. And I don't have time to get into that in this podcast, maybe down the road as we get into that. But this is the big macro today, is contribution. When our business is having an impact, we deserve to make a good income and to generate wealth so we can contribute to humanitarian causes and the nonprofit of our dreams. But your baseline business, you must be safe and secure. That root is security. Then we get to connect and serve better when our business is making money. So what are those revenue goals that align with your survival needs, your family's survival needs, and set goals to begin moving that boundary? Okay. So oftentimes what I've learned is back to those virus and that operating system, whether it was my mother's money scarcity, my own, I've had to do deep work, especially over the last 6-9 months, to move closer to alignment of exactly what I want and the fear-based surrounding around money. So how do you get rid of those limiting beliefs, those limiting thoughts, so we can set revenue-based goals that are aligned with our new self of how we're becoming? So I've made decisions already that have stretched me, that have scared me, that know that I am taking back what is mine and remembering how to have that. And that's letting go of old money things. So where do you want to contribute? Is this, and when you can do this in alignment of the value you provide. You know, you all may have heard the Zig Ziglar quote, help enough people get what they want and you'll get what you want. So in contribution, I'm putting value statements on how I want to serve my family, how I want to serve my clients, and how I want to have that impact my life. But it's aligned with everything that I'm choosing to put my energy into, that I am going to make a contribution to society. And I am being rewarded for that. And the more I can contribute, the more and value I can provide, the more I'm going to exponentially be in right relationship with contribution and money. A lot of belief work. I've done the Tony Robbins events around money, the NLP events, and again, consciously with Medicine Source and God of what I needed to work in, sacrifice the thoughts, the beliefs around money. So there's work to be had there as we go into the year. I'll bring this to your attention to create awareness. How is your relationship with money, contributions, profits? And then how do you set some reasonable goals? 10 to 20% are always very reasonable to grow per quarter. Doesn't mean we can't have 100 and 300x goals. I worked at Center Wellness this year. We went from, which I'm not going to disclose the numbers, from less than small numbers to beyond my wildest dreams. But I even set massive goals. They were like 2 to 300% goals. And the founder, Layla, she had such a powerful mind. She's like, no, JR, is like, you're thinking too small. I didn't think it was possible. I just go with it. But then I watched the movie 14 Peaks. I went to our good friends, the Jaegers and Modern Holistic Health Crew, and we're at the mastermind and we're watching that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this guy had unstoppable belief, unfathomable faith. And he just was serving a cause and a mission bigger than himself. And like, wow, what the mind and the heart can do together when you overcome these beliefs and realistic goals and everything, and you are just alignment of what purpose, what contribution you're serving, and that trust that God will provide when you are in that aligned. So that is what I believe is we can do. The next one is creativity. This is what I continue to evolve, of knowing what my best gifts are in studying, what I love, what I enjoy, what lights me up, or the most of the clients that I've served see my value, see my truth as I got feedback. And it came back to integrity-based enrollment. My greatest gift is going into these cash practices, having great transformational offers, and increasing revenue and sales through a process. Yes, I've learned from Tom Hopkins to Bedros Keuilian to how to sell 9 out of 10 clients, the different mentors that I've had, the logic and vein-based sales, but I've also learned my true authentic base, having truthful conversations from the apprenticeship that I've done in NLP to understanding and learning the shamanic ways of truth speaking. And that is what I do. That has been my creative process to create something that is completely different than anything else out there with one of my best gifts. I've creatively helped integrated health and wellness into medical centers and merged marketing and sales and lifestyle medicine into clinics. So I've always been a visionary and creative, but now this next chapter is something completely different. So what is your creative genius? Maybe it was music, maybe it was art, maybe it was song, frequency, technology, innovation. The world needs innovation. And when we unlock and get past our brain, get into that creative space, call it the external world, call it etheric, is nothing that is being built now it's just repeating and just with a different flavor or a wrapper on it. When you go into this conscious space and you're learning to get out of the head and into the heart, and you're able to, some call it manifest, you're going in and getting new information. That's what you can come back and create from. So this is where we solve new problems. The helicopter, I think, is Da Vinci that created drawings and art before it was ever created. They're conscious people going out into space and creative places. They're, call it channeling, call it going to a different world, calling it being in your zone of genius. You're inventing. All of it has been done. We're just bringing it to fruition. And there's a lot of copycats out there, and that can be an honor. And people are just, again, repackaging it. And that's okay, too, because people are going to say yes to you and your learned knowledge. Even if you're not innovating, you can go out there. Again, no right or wrong. Just, are you repurposing and building your own community, which is one way of creativity, your new acronym, your new name? Or are you going out developing something that has never been done before? Poetry, music, art, technical solutions, merging of different fields, Now with the influx of AI, there's the possibility to do even more. So go into this 2026 and do that. Number 5 is commitment. This is the process of goal setting and having what you want. What are you going to commit to in these areas? Going to the gym daily? That's what I'm doing with my kids now. I can promise you, like I was meditating, doing the biohacking, but I lost a lot of strength over the last 6 years doing the yoga, the breath work, the meditation, the biohacking. So it was like my body felt good enough to begin to commit to exercise. So I'm committing to every day that I'm home and not on the road, going to the gym with my 2 kids. That was a compromise they do together, and they love it. I got to, today was in between our weight lifts. I'm playing pickleball with my daughter. I love that. They love that. My daughter's not so good at pickleball. She even said to me today, she's like, Dad, are you getting frustrated? I said, Tinley, there's no place in the world that I'd rather be than right here, right now with you. So drop all that. Your dad loves to spend time with you. And there's complete truth in that. Do I love a competitive pickleball game? Yes. But spending that one-on-one quality time with her today, pure priceless. So what is that commitment that you can make to grow? Some of you may want to enhance your electrical system or your internal system. Is that meditation? Is that breath work? Is that cold plunging? Is that a new skill? What is your commitment to care for yourself, to care for your business, to care for your family? So my other commitment when I'm home, no matter how tired, I could be exhausted from going hard, I'm committed to being on my kids' sports teams. I'm committed to show up to those. And now I'm committing to spend a couple hours of time of creativity per week building this new business creation that I've seen and envisioned and creating my next book with my daughter. So those are my new commitments right now that I'm in process of. So I'm just giving you some insight to what's potential and what I've been committed to this last 90 days and what I'm committed to this next 90 days going into now that I'm back into my workout routine. Not only am I continuing those past commitments, now I'm stacking. The more energy you have, the more you can accomplish. Number 6, capabilities. After the commitment comes the capabilities, right? So you may commit to learning AI. You may commit to speaking. Then you become capable. But what have you built now that you're becoming capable of, you can embody that maybe you can share or help or be inspired to bring forth in your business. So this is a little bit different now. This is you've embodied it, you've done it, you have a new skill. Now you're going to put it to place. Maybe you were practicing in this committed area. Now you are putting it out there with an embodiment. An embodiment sells better. Embodiment shows up in confidence better. Maybe, again, you're not so gifted at enrolling people into what you believe could help them. But if you committed to practicing, learning, and now you do it, it will show up in your contribution to the world. So what are you going to implement now that you've practiced? It's no different than if you decided to go get regenerative medicine training at Regenerative Procedures Institute and you're going to learn these skills and now you feel capable and I'm actually going to offer regenerative medicine now. You would be ready because now you have capabilities. Maybe you're not ready for anything, but you're committed to learning a new skill. And then the next quarter, you're going to show your capabilities in value-based addition. So maybe you get more capable of hearing what you're hearing today and making different decisions today. You don't have to wait for next quarter. It's just like, I know what I want. I'm going to decide decisively. And I'm going to make decisions and I'm going to do. Decision-making processes, especially if you're aware you have a weakness, a gap, something holding you back, a mindset, and you make fast decisions. That is what successful entrepreneurs do. They don't sit, they don't ruminate, they get enough data, and they make fast decisions. They course correct. They make change. And that's what this comes down to. What are these capabilities that you're going to go decide, implement, and do? So that's the 6 C's. I hope it serves you. And I'm going to end with, if you've been grinding, there's a season for that. And I encourage you to continue if you must. Because I don't want to tell you what's right or wrong, but I want to promise you, when you can come back to balance, there is more ease. But as an entrepreneur, I've been where a sprint is necessary. Whether you're launching a book, an event, you're going to go. But I sprinted too hard, too long. So come back to balance. Care for yourself, care for your business, care for your families and loved ones, your hobbies, and find that balance this year. You may need to sprint to begin this year. That's okay. I sprinted for 10 plus years, took a little pause, sprinted for the last year, coming back to more balance the last 90 days. And that had rewards. But again, the body battery slows. And again, God's source keeps telling me, no, you're meant to live in balance. That is your truth. That is your integrity. And again, that's not every business mind's philosophy. I can surely say it wasn't mine at one point. But now I'm going to be like the 90-day sprint. So if you want a 90-day sprint, we have one of those for you with the MD Business Advisors. If you're ready to learn those skills, Regenerative Procedure Institute. If you're looking for solutions, let's get on a discovery call as below before of saying, how do I serve you this year? So thank you. Let's go aligned with what you want. You can move towards that with a little bit of courage, a little bit of truth of where you are and awareness, and the openness to try something a little bit new. So thank you all. Hope this served you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for being here. When you heal yourself, you change your family. When you change your family, you change your community. When you change your community, you change the world. That's the mission. That's the movement. Stay committed, stay courageous, and stay connected to the purpose that called you into helping others in this thing we call medicine. We'll see you on the next episode of the Doctors of Change.